Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely little island of Fawnhollow today on this, well, it was sunny earlier, it's not so sunny anymore, it's quite cloudy, but it's still, the sun is shining still on Fawnhollow, in New Horizons, a simulation of our real world, just not so accurate weather-wise, because really we don't have nearly as much rain. In real world or in Animal Crossing world, I'll let you decide for yourself. Anyway, let's get on with it. It's a Sunday, so of course, every Sunday is a chill day. And we don't really have much that we need to get up to, so we'll just sort of see what Isabel's got for us. Hello everyone, right now in Fawnhallow, it's 5:44 PM on Sunday, May 2nd, 2021. Well, nothing to really speak of, so we'll just do our usual Nook Mile mission point farming achievement stuff. Currency, I don't know. Now I'm just throwing buzzwords in just for the sake of it. Throwing it all into like a big word cloud on which you can construct out of the closed captions of these Animal Crossing videos. I don't think I even want to see that, to be honest. The amount of ums and hms and probably far too high. Thank you, Mum. Carnation. Happy Home Academy. More like get out of here, Academy. Get out of my home academy. Hey dear, ever impulse buy something you just know you're never going to use? Like maybe it's on sale and it looks cool, so you leap without thinking. Who knows what was going through my head? But my loss is your win. Barefoot for life. Mirror. It's a wonder that they even buy some of these clothes, which they can never seem to wear in the first place. Antique boots. What? I don't think I should be wearing these. These don't look antique at all. Maybe that's just the name of a style? I don't know. But we've got carnations and a thank you mum mug, which we might already have, I don't remember, but we bought them anyway. Of course, I forgot to check out the KK Cider concert yesterday. But we'll talk to our villagers. And well, yeah, I don't know. What should we talk about? I don't know. And again, I don't have a topic planned for today. As I planned as if I normally do. Normally I just wait for my ideas generator part of my brain to generate something and then I'll latch onto that for the next half an hour. Oh, you know what? I'll just come up with something. So basically we had, well, I guess it's not too uncommon, but in school you have these like, group projects, I guess. I'm trying to figure out where I was going with this. But it was often like on like special days of my place. We need my place. We can actually cross something off the list. That's amazing. There we go. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, but idea generator. And then one of them which sticks in my head is we had like business week, which I feel like I've spoken about before. I can't really remember. This might not have been a business week. It might have been a business week, I can't remember. And it was all about collaboration and teamwork and different parts of a team and how they work together to make a cohesive unit and workplace. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But, you know, I feel like the work dynamics is not really applicable to teenage dynamics because, or school dynamics in the first place, because the way that teenagers, I was going to say synthesize, that's not the right word. The synergy between teenagers, I suppose, is much more different to what you'd expect from working adults who, you know, have been in the industry for a while and all some stuff like that have I'd say expected to have good work ethic and respect for each other, but, you know, work politics and all that, I suppose it doesn't always pan out that way. But I'm not here to criticise that. Because I think, on the whole, people are very respectable workers, aren't they? And work hard. And, you know, it's probably not too surprising when I say a lot of adults tend to be better at working together than teenagers necessarily are. You know, you get teenagers who tend to slack off, teenagers who just don't want to do the work and let other people do the work, teenagers who overachievers, that sort of thing. Which category you land in, I suppose, depends. I probably was in more of an overachiever camp, but anyway, yeah, so in this business weekend, we're like learning about these different roles that people play on the team, and I remember it because it was a poster that was put up in like all the classrooms around school because it was like this new initiative or something they were pushing out to try and get, I don't know, better team group project work, which, you know, that's ambitious in the first place in school times. Well, I shouldn't say it's ambitious because sometimes it really depends on the group you work with. Luckily, I worked with a lot of my friends a lot of the time, so we all respected each other, so we all put in the effort and that sort of thing. Especially as the years went by. To be fair, as years went by, we didn't really have as many group projects. We had much more solo projects. We didn't have I didn't pay attention to what Nook Mile missions we had. Fish, rocks, customize, and buy. Okay, and craft. So we need some coconuts. Yeah, And I remember that this diagram, I can't remember all the parts on it, but it was like one diagram with in the center there was like the core, which I think was the leader or something, which is meant to be the leader for a group, which is, I understand the need for a leader, you know, a leader, a supervisor to be able to oversee things, manage things in an overarching sense and bring a group together so the group can focus on the direct specifics while someone else is overseeing the much more general broad view side of things and letting things come together cohesively as a whole. Yes, very important part of group. Does that work in teenagers working together in a school project? Sort of, but I feel like the problem that comes up most often is the fact that teenagers, some people just be like, oh, I'm going to be the leader and supervisor, quote, quote, where their vision, I suppose, as supervisor or leader is not necessarily putting their weight. It's more like, hold on a minute, we've had a missing purple flower here this entire time. You notice we've got 2 red mums here? Oh, I just dug out the wrong one. Which is, okay, you know, which you can, well, I suppose this is applicable to everything I'm about to say, is it's a thing which should work in theory, but I feel like is you got to understand the teenage dynamic a bit more before you really make sweeping statements about that sort of thing. Close this notepad. As we go into next, and there are like 5 other parts of a big circle making the team, and I wish I could remember them properly. What? I did not mean to buy this. I do not want to buy this. And one of them I remember distinctly was the ideas generator, which is also, you know, a fair part in like a workplace environment to generate ideas of that sort of thing. But as you can imagine with teenagers, the ideas generator, you know that saying that ideas are cheap, work is expensive, that sort of thing. I'm not sure about the exact saying, but it's a thing that rings true, and especially because in the dynamic in school projects and that sort of thing, ideas generator, a person who is an ideas generator, quote quote, just call this anecdotal evidence, I suppose, is people tend to use that as a veil to be like, oh, I'm contributing by just spewing out random ideas, whether feasible or not, you know, to really get off doing any work. Really, in school projects or that sort of thing, everyone kind of needs to do the same amount of work and pull their weight in the thing. Because I remember one of the roles, I can't remember what it was called. It might be called like the computer, something like that. The computator. No, it doesn't make sense. It was basically with the person who does the work. And I remember we were talking about this, like one of the teachers had like this meeting, was like assembly or something, presentation about it, like we were all split off into our groups and business things. And I remember I was having this discussion with my friends, and we were talking about it being like, oh, this isn't a very well, not necessarily not representative of what a good team should be, but no one's going to follow this properly because people are just going to be like, oh, I don't want to do work, oh, I'm the ideas generator, I'm just going to say random stuff and, you know, slack off doing anything. And there's going to be the poor person who shoulders all the responsibility for doing the work, you know. The poor computer, whatever. Actually, now I think about it, I feel like there's 2 different ones. There's one called the core, one was called the leader. And I feel like we talked about that being like, aren't they basically the same thing, or they should be the same thing? It's like, what's the difference between a core and a leader? I don't know. So clearly, that lesson didn't really sink in for any of us in school or whatever. That whole day was a bit wasted, I suppose. Not necessarily like out of spirit, but more like the lessons felt very unsubstantiated and very hand-wavy. Like, I feel like that's not the best way to talk about working in a team. I feel like there should be more emphasis in team cooperation and listening to each other's ideas and being able to build off of each other, understanding your strengths and weaknesses rather than having these rigid roles that people have to play. I mean, don't get me wrong, a leader is a very important role, but, you know, when it's much more freeform in school projects and that sort of thing, having a designated leader is not so much as a hierarchy, is more of a person who, I suppose, puts their foot forward in organising things like that. Taking initiative and organising things, and I suppose they're more of a spokesperson, I suppose, when it comes to school projects. But yeah, anyway. So then it became a bit of a meme in our friend group for a while, being an ideas generator. I know, a lot of old memes. That's kind of wasted. It's not even a very good meme, to be honest. Terrible meme. 0 out of 10. But no. But the workplace environment is a much more different place to a schoolyard for, good reason. I suppose one reason people are working for much more purpose and concrete goals, I suppose. Concrete effects on the world rather than, for their own studying potential. But her whole business week was really weird. Well, that's a big fish. I remember that whole premise, we need to make coconuts. That whole premise is we had, we were leading up to making a big project or whatever in a group. And then we'd had to like pitch it and we had to like do the sales and stuff and business side of it and whatnot. And I don't know. I felt like, I don't know how to put it, the week did not quite adequately prepare us for the project we had to do. At that point, oh my gosh, do you hear this vibration? It's an oarfish, that's why. I was like, this is the largest vibration I've ever heard. We've already got an oarfish, so we don't need it. Do we buy the customization kits? We did. We need to catch 5 fish, hit 5 rocks, customize 2 things. Okay. Craft 3 coconuts. Can do. Like I remember, what of it can I even remember? It was a whole week. We had to come in business suits. But like, there's bits and pieces of it which were very useful. Like, I remember there was one about interview practice, one for one session about interview practice, which was insightful, I'd say, and about like thinking about your future and jobs. It's like, yeah, all good things. But then when you intermix them with things which feel like I suppose a parody of instruction or advice, it sort of dampens the whole thing in the first place. Not that I should really be critiquing it, because I suppose I'm not someone who's done the research into this sort of thing. But I don't know. I guess it's easy for me up here on my podium, or I suppose when I was a student, to be like, oh, we should just, these things need to be appealing to teenagers or whatever, to really appeal to their sensibilities and communicate things properly. But I suppose that's something I can say in hindsight, right? Because I'm not sure how useful business some of his business lessons were on that day. But I don't know, maybe some of my other friends had different takeaways from it. Anyway, you might ask, what was our project we did in the end? We made like a smart fridge, basically. An early concept for a smart fridge. I remember we estimated the price of a smart fridge by the price of a fridge plus iPad plus Christmas lights. Which is not really how you're meant to do it. We had a thing where, I remember conceptually, you see, the idea generator thing. It's easy to think of the idea, it's hard to, think how you're going to implement it, or if it's even possible. And if you're too dismissive about the implementation idea, or sorry, the implementation side of it, you sort of get like if they can figure it out, just make it work, which is not really how things should go. We had a fridge where you could like scan your items and put it in, and it would like read the expiry date on it, and then you'd be able to. Did we know how to catch a clownfish? Oh no, it was a koi. And then you put it like in the drawer, and then like when something's expiring soon, it would like light up like orange, and then when it's expired, it would like light up red to sort of like tell you, oh look, your food's expiring. I mean, now we got smart fridges. Probably a lot cheaper because microchips and processing units will get far more affordable nowadays compared to previously. But back then, probably not so much a feasible option for us to even really create. Oh yeah, we totally did not win. I remember we were all competing against each other in our forms or our class, and then it was like year wide. And we're like a pretty good like studious group, I suppose. But and I remember they were announcing the top 3, and when we weren't said for third or second, I was like, were we first? It's like, because I remember thinking, I don't think we did that well. I was like, no, we weren't first. I don't even know why I thought that in the first place. Because in retrospect, I can definitely say we were. I mean, it was not a good project. Certainly back then, we could have done things differently. We had a lot of empty, like, PowerPoint slides. You can tell we didn't really think for our project all that well. You can tell we weren't really the best group at working together. Because this wasn't with, like, my close friends. I've known was in that group, and then we had some other people who we don't really talk to anymore. I don't really talk to anymore. But we're friends. Like, good friends at the time. We don't want this. We want to hit the money rock. So the synergy was just a bit off, I suppose. It was a bit weird. Might be how I'd put it. I think it showed with our work. You might be like, oh, wasn't Ali in your group? Nah, Ali was in a different group because we had a large friend group back then, so we had to split into two. They came third or second, I can't remember. They had like a manual food processor, kind of. I remember the concept. Their one, it was like a box. It was called what was it called? It had like a weird name. It was like with something slicer. I don't know, maybe Ali will remember if I ask him. But it was like a box where you slide your food in, and then you like push down on the top, and it goes like and it like dices your vegetables or whatever you put in. Now you might be like, hey, I've chopped a carrot before. I don't think just a simple cardboard box style thing with blades in and chopping down is gonna cut the carrots particularly well. And you might also be thinking, hey, I have children. I'm a bit worried that they might stick their hands in and get their hands absolutely destroyed by a blade of a box of blades. And you know, they're all legitimate concerns. But remember, we are like 14 and don't know. No, maybe we're 16. I can't remember. Don't have that much experience with creating up feasible and good concept designs. As I point to our fridge idea, which is completely, well, I mean, the concept of smart fridge is not a bad idea, but the fact that it would track expiry dates and the fact that we probably lowballed the price by a huge amount probably didn't help all that much, and our presentation was pretty whack. I remember the group at one, they had like a condiment shooter. It was actually simple. At the time I was like, I can't believe they won. It's like, what is this product idea? Doesn't revolutionise anything, but really it's simple. And it was perhaps the only group which had a very feasible idea, which could have actually worked and actually, you know, like made a profit on the business side of things. It was just like a condiment idea where it was basically like a revolver sort of shape where you like load in a condiment of some sort, like ketchup or mayonnaise, and you like pull the trigger and it would like squeeze it and it would fire off like a condiment. So it was meant to be like a fun way for kids or something to apply condiments, or people just wanting an interesting thing. And you might say, like, that's like something you find like as a gag gift on a gift shop. Yeah, kind of, but you know, it's also a gift. It's also a product which exists, especially at that time. Where I'm not sure if we could say so much for ours at that moment. I mean, smart fridges probably did exist, but I don't really know. I'm not an expert on smart fridges. I don't even know what smart fridges would do nowadays anyway. So yeah, I can't remember what the group came second had. Can't remember what the other groups had. There were like 6 groups in total. Anyway, yeah, they represented our class on a big stage against the other classes in the year. Who won in the end? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember what other like products people came up with. One of them was like a case, which was basically an all-in-one case. It was a phone case which had like a extra battery in. It had like HDMI ports or things like that, a load of different ports on the side. And I remember because like this is a thing, you know, we're teenagers, we can sort of come up with ideas, but we can't come up with a physical practicability of implementing them because we're not that aware, I suppose, of the business side of things and how easy things would be to implement. So we're sort of just like, maybe we can do this, just like put it down as a potential idea. Have we got a clownfish? I can't remember. Sell these. And like I remember we had like a question portion afterwards, and it was like, you know, if it's got a battery in, how chunky is this case going to be? Because obviously if it's a case with an extra battery in, it's going to be huge and heavy. Sorry about that slight pause. Chop down a tree, sell a hot item, catch a koi. Catch a koi is going to be quite difficult. Catch bugs, die for creatures. Okay, we've got nearly 60,000 now. Look how much we've earned now we're actually properly farming these. See, if I had all-in-one cases, they might have actually won in the end. I actually can't remember. They had a nice presentation, is what I remember. Because I think they had someone in their group who was actually, I'm not sure if he is a graphics designer now, but he certainly liked graphic design. Graphic design is my passion, but like in a legitimate way, I suppose. Let's chop down one of these trees. Why are there so many trees next to each other here? So good for him. What other products? It's honestly, it's a bit too hard to remember. off the top of my head. I'm not sure if any of my friends would remember if I asked them, but maybe they would. Let's not discredit them too quickly. But this is such a weird thing to remember. I know, it was a weird week in general. Full of ups and downs. Good things and bad things. I remember... Actually, this wasn't even in business week. One of the most useful lessons I remember we had was about financial management and, like, the cost of, you know, like, student debt, I suppose. And having to pay that back. Which is obviously a big thing for a lot of students who are considering it. If they're considering going to university or even colleges, if it costs money and you don't live in a country where it's free. Yeah, it's about management of those resources. But I remember what we had to do was like simulate the finances for a made-up person, like who just graduated and with their debt, and then they had to earn money to get it up. I'll say snack time. I remember we were like, oh, let's do like an extreme case or whatever. So this person did like X amount of years, like 7 years or whatever, and were like an extraordinarily expensive university debt and like Yale or something, I don't remember. And they somehow got up to earning 6 figures a month within a couple of years, which is mildly absurd, but you know, maybe they're a YouTube influencer or something who struck it big. They played Among Us and then made it work. I remember we were making our presentation, our teacher was like, what? And we were like, oh yeah, we were doing an extreme case because we thought it'd be more interesting. And she was like, oh, alright. She was sort of like a teacher who's like, not that she didn't care, but more she was like, whatever. Kids these days. Except for she was French. She'd probably say it in French. I don't remember anything else from that, to be honest. That wasn't even during business week. I was completely unrelated. Who are we giving us to? Oh, Rowan, I remember. I'm trying to remember what else had even happened in business week. I remember we had interview practice. The only thing I remember from that is it was like, oh yeah, write down what jobs you want. I remember what I wrote down was top one was... What was top one? Top one was video game creator. Or designer, I suppose. Does that hold true anymore? Not really. Number 2 was... I can't remember. Number 3 was voice actor. Number 4 was... I also don't remember. Accountant or like some financial business thing. Number 2 might have been around like some programming thing as well. I can't remember. Number 5. What was number 5? Cartoonist, I think. And I remember it was like, oh, you should now label them, being like, oh, which ones are you doing for money? Which ones are you doing for the love of it? And I was like, oh man, I think it's obvious which ones I would do for love because it's the ones I remember compared to the ones I don't remember. But obviously that hasn't really come to pass. But I will. I was completely blanked out on whatever Rowan was saying. Did he put on the outfit? What did we give him? Did I reject it? Did I tell him not to wear it? I don't know if he changed his outfit out. He probably did. Maybe I said yes. I think my subconscious brain was pretty good. But we'll tell Jakey anyway. What else happened with our business week? I don't know. I feel like it's not a good sign if I can't really remember. And it was meant to be something preparing you for future. Oh yeah, the interview. I remember one of the... He did like a mock interview with one of the students in front of everyone, which must have been absolutely mortifying for that kid. Luckily it wasn't me, because I don't think that teacher knew my name. He was an English teacher, I think. Not that I'm saying that like most of the teachers didn't know my name. I feel like they're probably decently aware of me, because I had good academics in school. Just mostly it was maths and science teachers. And he never taught me, so why would he know my name? Where is Jakey? Wasn't he around here? He was literally right here, wasn't he? Or maybe I'm misremembering. And then I remember the teacher got like a set square and he stuck like blue tack on all the ends, and he just like gave it to the student. It was like, what is this? And he was like, it's a set square. He was like, oh. And I can't remember what his response was, but apparently like what you're meant to say is like, oh, you're meant to do something which shows your vision as like a business person or something, or your ideals. So it's meant to be like, oh, it's like a portal, a doorway into new opportunities, and you step through. And I can't help but think like, if I was an interviewer and I was interviewing someone, one, I don't think I'd give them that question in the first place. It's not a very enlightening question. Oh yeah, here's like a weirdly folded piece of paper. What is this? And if they didn't give me some answer, being like, oh, it's the pinnacle of the new heights you'll reach if you hire me in our business because of a or it's like a triangle. It's like the sturdiness and the foundation of relationships or something. I'll be like, what are you talking about? It's a piece of paper. But also, you know, I think the onus would be on me, because it's like, why did I ask you that some sort of question and expect the answer? It's a piece of paper. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I understand if you phrase it differently. Like, what do you think? What could this represent? Or like, how do you see this represented? Then okay, then that's sort of like a tick with check marks. Okay, go on a spiel about something inspiring. Where's Jakey? I don't know. We gave a present. We don't need to see where Jakey is. About that sort of thing, being like, oh yeah, this is what it represents. But it's like, what is this? This is just such a bizarre question. And apparently, I remember because you could like apply to be a prefect in our school, or like a thing above prefect, which I didn't do because I was like, I don't know why I didn't do it. Now I think about it. No, I would have got it anyway. I wasn't particularly active within the social dynamics within school. Now I just kind of wasn't academic, I suppose. But one of my friends, like older brother, did it. Apparently, one of the questions he was asked, he was given a banana or a pencil, I can't remember, and he basically had to come up with things it could be and like act with it in different ways. Like, you know, there's like, oh, maybe it's a comb, or maybe I think it was a banana. It was like, maybe it's a comb. It was a phone. It was like an umbrella. It was a toothbrush and things like that. And I was like, what? And this isn't asking the quality. This isn't asking about the qualities I want in someone in this position. You know, I want to know about their work ethic. I want to know about their diligence. I want to know how they would handle a situation. You know, if a fight breaks out between two students, how would they defuse a situation? How would they stop it? How would they prevent it from coming on? Would they report this Y, Z? Like, you know, are they someone who would get along with the other students, while also being able to maintain that authoritative sort of like, not authoritative figure, but like be able to discipline students and act on it and that sort of thing. It's like, what? I don't care about how many ways they can come up with representing what this pencil is. It's like, I don't know. Now also I might be misremembering the exact premise of it, and this is probably just a throwaway sort of question, but still, it's like, I don't know. But an interviewer should ask enlightening questions. And while there's information that's supposed to be gleaned from those sort of questions, I feel like there are much better ways to glean that sort of information about, you know, like creativity or other things, and things much more relevant to the role, which should probably come first. But what do I know, I suppose? I was just a lowly prefect or whatever. But anyway, should we round this episode over here? Probably. Yeah, why don't we? And I don't know, do we have anything major to do? I guess we could sell those things. Oh, we got 1 minute. We can sell it. Let's do it. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to call this episode, Business Week or something. Maybe it was more enlightening than I remember. It's just sort of, it's been a while since I've really thought about it, and I can't remember lots of it. But yeah, what have I been up to today? Not really much. Well, actually, quite a lot, but stuff. Keeping it vague. For my own good reasons. I haven't played games. I would say I haven't like recorded a video in ages. The Celeste episode, which has gone up yesterday or recently, has been the most recent one I've recorded, and I've not recorded anything since that one. So it means I haven't recorded any Celeste for like 2 weeks, so I might be terrible when we come back. I haven't recorded any of these games for ages, now I think about it, apart from Fez. Recorded that back on 22nd of April. Recorded Celeste on 15th of April. Is that actually 2 weeks then? Almost 3 weeks. Wow. That's how big a backlog I had, which is good because it's been busy, but still. Anyway, I'm going to round this episode up here, so if you have been watching, thank you very much. If it's been Animal Crossing New Horizons, I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares. Oh, excuse me, got hiccups. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, all greatly appreciated, and links down below. I hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. See ya, Audie, I guess.